Well, that's it. We're pretty much done the bulwarks.
I'm Taryn, this is Logan, and this is Max. Our life rarely goes as planned, and this story is no different. But we are determined to rebuild our beautiful steel boat, even stronger than she was before. And we're bringing you along with us.
Well, today is the day that we finish putting the fairleads in. So there's 6 fairleads total. We have 2 of them in, and that means obviously that we have 4 left to put in.
Rebuilding the bulwarks was an emotional roller coaster.
There's holes right through the deck, which was our worst case scenario, essentially. That means that we've got a bunch more work ahead of us because we have to tear out a bunch of the interior in order to do the welding without lighting the boat on fire. That essentially we're tearing most of our boat apart.
So getting to the point of finally finishing the last bit of the project felt like a huge accomplishment.
So once we have those tacked and welded in, the only other thing that we have to do on the bulwarks is finishing off the end caps, which pretty much just have to be ground at this point. And then we're completely done all of the work on the bulwarks before painting. Super exciting. So let's get to work. Come here, fluffy buddy. Oh,
Before we could weld anything in, we needed to cut the holes for the fairleads.
Logan set up a couple of fire blankets down below so that we don't get a bunch of sparks and stuff on everything down below and start a fire on accident. We definitely don't want that. So the first one's going about here, and then the last one goes back there by the drain right before the step.
It's the center right there, what I need you to
close, eh?
The top doesn't really matter so much, but the 3 sides.
In order to properly center the new stainless fairleads, we built a bit of a jig.
That's what it's gonna have to be.
Fine.
and soon they were all welded in.
Today I'm going to finish up the starboard side return into the deck on the stern, which would be this guy. So I'm gonna tackle that, and while I have the wire switched over, I'm going to do some stainless welding for the bollard. This bollard here, for whatever reason, air is able to get in around these welds. Well, they're not really full welds, but they're not exactly sealed up. So I have to cut this guy off here and take a bit of this stainless plate and make a cap and weld it into here, so that when I weld this down to the deck, hopefully it'll be airtight and it won't rust out underneath the bollard.
These are essentially the three parts of the boat we were dealing with: the hull, bulwarks, and capping pipe. We wanted nice lines going with the transom where our bulwarks ended, but we also didn't want points where things were going to rust. So we decided to taper the pipe and add a bit of stainless rod to the end so that it wouldn't rust. So Logan cut the end of the bulwarks and pipe off at the same angle as the transom. Tapering the pipe into a nice shape was a bit difficult, but Logan had a system figured out by the time he got to the starboard side.
So I've just switched out the spool of wire in the welder, and I changed it to 309 to weld on the stainless end cap, I guess. This 1/2-inch stainless bar. Let's weld this on.
This may be the least pretty part of the boat at the end of the project, but it should at least be functional.
Sorry about the GoPro screen. It's got some welding spatter. Got to change that out later, but that's all I've got for today. So I'm going to cut the bottom off of the bollard and weld this plate on.
You might remember us cutting this guy off a few episodes ago.
So the deck was rotten underneath this. They just replaced or patched it with some stainless. The steel underneath wasn't prepped properly for paint or anything, so it's rusted. And it sunk in, and it's just, yeah, we're cutting parts of the deck out. We might as well cut that out too and fix it. What I'm gonna do is cut this guy off of here, trace a circle on here, like the same size as this.
Yeah.
And basically just weld this so it's closed on the bottom. These are hollow.
Okay.
That's, well, you can see what happens when they're hollow and air can get in.
Oh,
It rots from the inside out.
Adding a stainless steel plate to the bottom instead ensures that we don't have an issue with rust happening right below the bollard. Once the new base was on, we took the bollard back to its original spot and team welded it back into place.
Well, that's it. We're pretty much done the ball works. That's so exciting. Months and months and months, and we're finally done. How does it feel, Logan? Where are you?
Awesome. It looks good too.
Yeah, it does. Looks freaking awesome.
Yeah, can't wait to get some paint on that.
Woo woo! That's great. Feels like we're actually getting somewhere,
Oh.
even though there's a lot left to do.
Thanks so much for joining us on this journey. We still have a long way to go, but we are starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel. And an extra shout out to our patrons for helping to keep us on track throughout this project.